Welcome to the Anything Podcast, the podcast where anything could happen. Midgets could pull in, strippers could be sitting right there, or there could be an imaginary force field that I'm controlling with the camera. This is the Anything Podcast. Anything could happen. I'm your host, Jay Platano, also known as Jacob, This right here is Macklemore and not the famous one. We just have the knockoff one with the jacket.
The one, this is where he's been hiding. This is where he's been at.
Who, Jay Platano or you?
No, Macklemore did.
Macklemore came from the streets. He has no social media, no nothing.
I think the only thing we got in common is we both thrift.
Well, yeah, we both thrift heavily. We both go to, what is it, the Value Village?
Value Village. It's
But
always the most ghetto thrift stores where you find the craziest finds.
That's wrong.
Look, like craziest finds. You find the craziest finds at like the bins. You gotta go through the
bins.
You got to go through the trenches. Yeah.
I have never found anything.
Or maybe it's just like when you get a grail and you get it through the bins, you're like, dude, this is so much better because you had to go through so much more.
Now the bins
Like,
he's talking about.
You might get tetanus from going into the bins. Like you just right on there, and one of the things you go in there. Some black lady gets her nails like scrapes them in your arm.
No. The bins he's talking about is the Google bins. The bins I'm talking about is like an actual dumpster bin. You'll see me around in a Jets jacket. I got that from the dumpster. So anybody's asking, where do you get that? Where do you get that? No, I did not pay $300.
Actual dumpster.
Yes. From my dumpster, to be exact.
No, thrift stores are privileged. If you go to a thrift store,
the real thrift store is the dumpster.
the ones who know, man, they go to the actual dumpsters.
Real
They be
dumpster.
rummaging around their neighbor's little rat over there, just like.
That's real dumpsters diving. That's real love. There's no money in that game. It's just you go in, you're over here huffing diapers and shit.
That was pungent. That brought back memories.
What, the diaper?
Yeah, there's always a diaper in there. There's
No,
like always. It could be like all cardboard boxes, and then there's still gonna be just don't even know where are they even getting this trash from. Always a diaper.
Always a diaper? That's the thing is
The scariest ones is when it's like it's an adult diaper.
no, the scariest dumpster or trash can find has roaches in it. When you find clothes that have roaches in it, you'll see like the coolest Remington hat, like a shiesty or something cool, but then it'll have like a whole roach infestation down below, and that's when you gotta be careful. Because I've gotten a pieces
when
like
it
that.
marinates. But honestly, okay. Like going into dumpsters, it gets a bad rap. But actually going into dumpsters, they're actually not as bad.
Dumpster diving?
Not as bad as you would think. It's usually like, unless it's like soggy outside.
Yeah. But I mean, we're talking about clothes. You can even find like memorabilia. Like old people love throwing away great things. One time we found a John Deere 6x6 Gator out at a llama farm for free. This is like, it looks like a Caterpillar almost. It has 6 wheels on it. Beautiful. What's the best find you found on the side of the road?
Oh, on the side of it. I will say, like, there's certain things, like, if you're going to a thrift store, that's where you get, like, your clothes. But if you go to, like, dumpsters, or you go to the side of the road, or something like that, it's usually furniture I'm looking for.
Furniture?
Yeah. So it's, like, couches, like, wood furniture, so, like, tables. We've gotten so many tables from, like, the sides of the road. You just like sand it down, you give it a paint job. We still have, the main table that's in our coffee table like room.
Yeah, the
white
middle
one.
one. It's like big as this carpet.
We got that off the side of the road. Like half the stuff we got is off the side of the road. Nobody ever knows. You just like throw.
You just find it.
You put some elbow grease in there, a little TLC. It's all good.
I
Like
mean,
the real scam are the people that just are like, dude, have you seen how much like couches are at IKEA?
I don't buy my couch.
Like a jank couch.
Like a Wayfair one.
Worse than Wayfair. These are like the lowest tier couch at IKEA because they got good stuff at IKEA sometimes because they do like collapses like Off-White and stuff. I'm talking about like the most boof jank.
Worse than Amazon?
Or same tier, but it's just.
Are we talking about cardboard quality?
We're talking. Yeah, they actually
Cardboard.
make cardboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not even the wood particle. Just
No, do you know what IKEA does with their stuff? They
No.
put on two thin slices of plywood, and then in between.
so wait. What's
in
the whole
between
point of
you do a
IKEA?
honeycomb with cardboard.
What's the
That's
whole
it.
point of IKEA? I thought IKEA furniture was supposed to be good.
No, it's just cheap. Like it's cheap. So if you need something and you need it, like get IKEA. But you would never get like a couch from IKEA.
Hey, I mean somebody would buy it. It's a couch.
Well, I mean,
Anyways,
people do buy it. Yeah.
anyways, I don't like buying anything new nowadays. Everything you buy new is damn near garbage, minus electronics.
Well, yeah.
Me personally, you go to the store, you go to the mall, you can't even find a heavyweight T-shirt. All you're gonna find is like a little fleece fabric T-shirt that's gonna probably disintegrate in maybe 3 washes.
I'm just saying, like with couches, I can't fathom buying a brand new couch. Like I can't wrap my
Like a
brain-
full-on leather one, like this.
Yeah,
like
because
you
you
should.
can buy like fire couches, like fire vintage,
Mhm.
mint condition, like that are used. But like if you bought that brand new, it's gonna be like 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all over the place. Like couches are so readily available. You can find any style, anything like that. Just name a price range from free to like $1,000, and you can get pretty much whatever you want.
See, I like my couches that like that actually had a heartbeat. He likes the ones that don't have a heartbeat.
No, man, dude, I know about couches. I inherited 8 couches.
But the
I
best
had
one.
8 couches at one point. Also, hey, fun story. It's like a pack of gum on like the first day of school. If you got couches in college, you're making friends. Who does it? Like, everyone wants a couch. A couch is the thing you want if you're in college.
You want a futon.
You have an outside couch where you get like hecklers and you get like honk if you want us to drink. Put it in the lawn.
All right,
Yes,
putting on
sir.
the line. It's
Designated
different
yard
story.
couch. Yard couch. That's the one they're gonna grab.
It gotta be waterproof though. It can't just be no.
No, it doesn't matter.
Oh my.
No, it's
He's
called
over.
a couch.
He's over here sitting down on soggy
No.
couches. Nah, I can't do that.
It's you only live once, Barry. Come on.
That's worse than wearing a wet sock, bro.
That's
a soggy couch, sitting down on it.
That's like the whole sneaker thing. Like I like sneakers until I realized, wait a minute. I would get like paranoid in my head because I'm like, dude, I'm gonna crease it. I'm gonna scuff this. What type of activity am I gonna do? Oh, I gotta go home and change my shoes. Like I don't like to live that way. That's why I stopped doing the whole sneaker thing.
The sneaker thing.
Same thing with when you're in college. Like, bro, you inherited a free couch. Live it up. Put it on top of your, RV and just like strap it down and ride on top of it. Like, go sailing on it down the river. Like, put it in the front yard and let it get soggy.
I never thought of my
Don't
couch
think
like
about
that.
don't think about the consequences and like don't be too much of a square. Like you just got like the coolest people are the ones that are just like, screw this.
I'm not really much of a couch enthusiast unless it's full leather grain. Other than that, I mean, maybe a mid-century and that's about it. But I don't.
Yeah, with the rivets. I like
Yeah.
the leather with the rivets.
Yeah, but I'm
They got,
not.
like, a square like.
I'm not a
nipples in it.
full-on furniture enthusiast unless it's 1950s heavy, full-on material metal.
I like some mid-century pieces. Like couches, I like
Mhm.
the mid-century couches. I don't like a lot of some like center consoles in
Yeah.
mid-century are cool.
The
I just don't like when
appliances,
they go with orange
the
and
appliances are where you get at it. Like we're talking about like fridges that have automotive quality paint, metals, and chrome. That's what I like. The red fridge, everyone knows the red fridge.
Like
No one's ever.
Fallout.
Yeah,
type
Fallout
fridge.
fridge. No one knows what these fridges are called. They're General Electrics, Filippo, and all them. People on Instagram restore them, and I'm kind of jealous. I don't have a fridge. I can go on Facebook and find one for $200, but problem is, what am I gonna do with it? Am I actually gonna use it? Am I gonna use it as a garage?
Well,
Like,
just knowing where
trophy?
to find it is half the battle. So if you know where you can find it, Facebook Marketplace, man. I'm telling you, that is a fun late night activity. Just look at random listings on Facebook. There are some weird things on Facebook Marketplace like that. I found an inflatable alligator, and then when you went in the inside of it, because it's a big old inflatable alligator, you could go in the mouth, you like body parts. You could like punch the uvula, and then you could like get squirted out the back. It was pretty graphic.
I mean, you could at one point buy Elvis's jet on Facebook.
I tell you,
It sold for 30,000.
There's some awesome things. It's like gold mining, just randomness.
I remember there was a time before Facebook Marketplace. There was OfferUp, Let Go.
No, before that,
Craigslist.
Craigslist. Yep.
Craigslist, I think, was the worst one because there was-
Craigslist used to be the one at a time, like 2006, 2008.
well, yeah, because it was either that or eBay. But
And
eBay
then
was
people
not.
started getting like racist stuff when they got on there. It was bad.
We gotta edit that out.
They started getting the.
He basically said, "Great. Basically, we're gonna have to beep that one out because I'm gonna get censored by the YouTube if you say the R word and not that R word." You know, there's like little censor words, right?
I know that.
This is why we have the pilot episode. He doesn't know the rules. We don't know the rules. We're just freeballing this. We're putting actual love and passion into this. Like no one told us to do this. This is our thing. Like the Anything podcast, we can say anything can happen. We can't just say anything.
There could be. It's the Anything podcast, so you can't say anything.
We can't say anything. We get heavily censored nowadays. That's the problem with our society. The society is changing, and we haven't changed or evolved. Me and him have been basically the same person in essence, minus the new experience.
This is super interesting. Mexican candy.
Mexican candy's a toss-up.
Yeah, this thing's. I will say, the U.S. we got the best candy.
I will agree there. If you go to the UK, there's a markup on American candy. The Indian tribe literally has a chokehold of all candy in the UK.
I don't know what it is, like, because everyone. Are you seen like those? What are those interviews like on YouTube where the celebrities go in and they're like, "Oh, try this out" and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Everyone agrees that our candy is the best. Why do they even bother making their own candy? Is it like heritage or something? Like, oh, we've been making this candy.
I think most people are very prideful.
It's like black licorice. Like 1% of the population likes black licorice. Why do they keep making
You're
it?
crazy if you like black licorice. It's only good for rope.
You're probably on a neighborhood watch list. Like, are you kidding me?
Dark chocolate is that? Am I on the?
No, you're just like, you're classy if you like dark chocolate. Or you're just like a mom who likes to, you know, like the moms who like red wine and eat bonbons and dark chocolate. Like that's.
All right, because I don't like the Hershey milk chocolate no more. You grow out of that. It just tastes too sweet, too horrible. Do you like Hershey like milk chocolate?
To be completely honest, I don't really like sweets a lot anymore. I like crave savory. I like savory one sweet. Like a
Macklemore.
burger. That is my.
Macklemore. Do we have a favorite candy though? Mine's Gushers.
I like 100 grams. I like 0 bars, which is kind of just like a white chocolate Snickers.
This is like old man candy, bro.
I know it's old man. 100 grams are so good.
But no one buys them.
What?
Nobody buys 100 grams. Nobody buys a 0 bar. The 0 bar hasn't changed their branding in like 30
I don't know what to
years.
tell you, man. Those are my favorite candies. You're dogging on my favorite candy. Oh, whatchamacallits are fire.
He's literally pulling out every single candy that's on clearance. There's no Snickers, there's no Skittles, there's no
Man, Skittles are alright.
Skittles. They fell off. I don't like Skittles no more.
I will say if you haven't had Skittles in a while, and then you like get the Skittles, and you have like the first 3, crazy good. But then they get progressively worse.
Sour Skittles for me. I like Adventure. Nah, because once.
Oh!
What?
I need to tell you this story. So when I was working at that one pyramid scheme job, we go into like the next place we were gonna hit. It was this like big, dark, ominous building. Like windows were like tinted, everything, and I'm like, what is this? But out front, you know, like those Chevy trucks where they got like the plastic part inside always oxidized and looks terrible.
What year was it? Like
I don't know, 2012.
2012 Chevy truck? Yeah, just the work one.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it had a livery on it of toxic waste, and I was like, oh, the toxic waste. I remember that. It was so good. And I'm like, why is this parked here? Anyways, we go into the building. We had like buzzed this thing. I was like, what's going on here? Are we really gonna full send it? We somehow got into the building. It was the toxic waste headquarters.
Where is it? Is it here in Indy?
Yes, it was in Carmel.
I've seen their trucks.
Dude, it was blacked out. We went in there, we were peeking our head through, and the receptionist was there. This place was dope, like so dope. But it looked like a supervillain's headquarters. Like tall ceilings. They had like an awesome it looked sort of like an arcade on the inside, but like a haunted arcade. They had like race suits with like the race helmets there with like the toxic waste livery helmets. Like it was legit. But then we got kicked out because she was like, "Oh, you can't canvas here. Not canvas. What is that called?
Trespass?
Soliciting.
Solicit?
Yeah. So anyway, but it was like, dude, these are like super villains. Like, what are they hiding in the toxic waste?
Yeah.
But it was just crazy. Like I was like, what the heck? This is like Willy Wonka.
So what's interesting is at the same time we both worked pyramid scheme jobs. I worked a pyramid scheme job where.
Well, I worked there 3 days. So
what was yours before I elaborate?
I am gonna name drop this one because screw this company. It's called Credence Innovations. And how they set it up is I was job searching. Also, online job searching right now is not the move. It's not worth your time, not worth your effort. You're better off going with whatever connections you have, like in person, friends, family, stuff like that. Just word to the wise. Anyways, I was job searching, throwing my name out to whoever would listen. They got back to me, and it was funny because I had applied like 30 jobs that week, and I was like, I didn't even know what company was calling me because I applied to so many places, but I had a little phone interview, but it was with 2 additional people, and so I wasn't thinking anything of it. I went on to the, I was like, oh, okay, I probably didn't make it. They called me back. I got a second interview, and that was in person, and they're like, you made it. You were like one of the 2 picks out of 300 people. So I felt special. I felt like, dang, I got it. And then we're like, okay, you got orientation, gonna run through all like the normal semantics with like, what is it? Just like, bank information, all that stuff that you do when you're hiring. And they were talking about this, like, oh my goodness, well, we want you for like a management position, blah, 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 blah. But there is gonna be training. And I was like, okay, I'm cool with that. I don't know why you chose me for management, but okay. And I get there, do orientation, everyone's hyped. It's just like a strange work environment because everyone's stoked, everyone's dressed up, and everyone's young in the workplace. Like, give or take 5 years. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? I finished my orientation, which was only like an hour, 2 days. And then they're like, first day out in the field, and I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Because I still didn't have a really good understanding of the job. They kept like sugarcoating it, and then when I would play back what they said in my head, and I said it out loud because like parents would be asking, so what is this job? I'm like, that doesn't make any freaking sense. I don't know what I'm even saying right now. Business to business marketing. So I get there, I didn't know if it was gonna be phone calls. I didn't know if it was gonna be like corporate meetings that we've scheduled with these companies or something like that. No, turns out we're selling AT&T contracts that are like business specials with companies, and we're walking door to door. Literally, imagine like parking your car in a strip mall and then knocking on each door and walking in there. And I was dressed in a suit. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? And then I'm learning my pitch. And as I'm learning my pitch, I'm realizing like what's working and what's not working with another guy who's like mentoring me. He's blatantly lying to these people. Sign will say no soliciting on the outside. He'll walk right in there. It doesn't matter what type of business it is. It could be a therapist, a doctor, literally like stuff you should not be going into because it's breach of privacy. Anyways, we'll walk right in there, and he'll act like an AT like service technician. And so they're like, oh yeah, like you need to look at the router. Okay, I'll look at the router. Yeah, see, you guys actually don't have AT&T. Have you considered switching with that? Get the hell out of here. you know. Like that's how it would go the
Mhm.
whole time. And it was just like, you know what, I can't be doing this. There was a couple times where I could have made the sale, but I was just like, dude, this is scummy. Like I hate scammers. I'm not gonna be a scammer. Like I'm not gonna be the thing I hate, so I made that decision, I'm like, out of there. Boom.
Shoot.
And that was it.
Because
Alright.
yeah,
Just had a phone call come in.
basically phone call just came in. Literally, this is like amateur hour. Like, we literally don't know what we're doing. We were talking about last generation of mothers.
We're talking about how like last school, because each generation is different. So this is kind of what I've been thinking about a lot. So baby boomers, right? You know, ideally the generations progress. Like those parents give something back to their kids, and they build off of that, and they build off of that, and build off of that. And each generation is supposed to be better than the last.
Yes.
That's how like a good growing economy is supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's like the objective. That didn't happen because baby boomers, they got everything they wanted. Their parents spoiled them because they had like a booming economy. They're like, I'm gonna give them everything that I didn't get when I was a kid. Because you think about it, they were in the Great Depression and stuff like that. They just got out of World War I or whatever, World War II as well. And so like, oh, I'm gonna give them everything. So these kids were spoiled rotten. And then those turned into 70s kids. You know how that happened with Woodstock. They made a bunch of dumb decisions. And then they had kids. Generation, what is that? Generation X?
Gen X, and then millennials.
First generation to have it worse than their parents because they threw everything away. Like all that money that their parents gave them and everything, they squandered it on like drugs and like a bunch of debauchery.
And that's what happened with your family.
Yeah.
You come from
Yeah, my
privileged
parents are
background.
exactly. We come from an old money family, but my grandparents, who were the baby boomer kids who got spoiled, threw that all away. Like Hollywood money, like old money.
Can you elaborate for the fans?
To elaborate, if my grandparents were to have not squandered that money, we potentially would be one of the richest families in the United States. Sadly, my parents did not inherit any of that, which money isn't everything, so it doesn't really matter. I still love my family, but they did not inherit all that. They did learn from their mistakes, but all the money was gone by then, so it's whatever. But anyways, so then that generation who got it worse than their parents, they had to like buckle down, and they were like, oh my gosh, like they didn't even have time to raise kids. So you're looking at, so my generation, right, your generation as well, we're sort of like millennials, sort of Gen Z.
We're
So
in the
millennials.
halfway.
No, actually, yeah. So it's Gen X, then millennials, then Gen Z. So millennial parents are the ones who had Gen Z.
No.
Roughly.
Millennial, roughly speaking, are 30-year-olds right now.
Okay, that's all good.
Basically,
but
roughly.
no, so anyway,
millennials
so-
are 30-year-olds right now. Your family is more Gen X, more in between
Yeah.
Gen X, baby
Weird.
boomer.
But
Mine
either
are
way,
Gen
the kids in my family encompass 2 generations. But also we were raised very differently, so that doesn't really make any sense. We're not as
We're talking about mothers though.
But yeah,
what's
so
the
then
in between?
getting to the actual point of what we were talking about. Those parents, they were either so exhausted or they wanted their kids to be more of like friends with them because they didn't want these overbearing parents from Gen X. Actually, yeah, I was right the first time. Because Gen X, they got it worse. So then those parents were like, you just can't do this. And those were like the dominant parents that are like, don't screw up, don't squander this stuff. And they got drilled like their whole lives. And so then when Gen X millennial, like right in there, those were the parents of Gen Z. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna loosen up. Like I wanna be friends with my kid. Like I'll literally pull them out of school and go get my nails done. True story. Like crazy stuff like that, and like they don't see a problem with it. Or like they'll go to the tattoo parlor, like when they're 16 and go get a tattoo with their kid, like matching tattoos. You're the freaking mom. Like what are you talking about? Like ridiculous stuff like that. And these kids just do whatever the heck they want. Like the type of parents who, like will host high school parties and like give literally just be like, yeah, you can rate the
Yeah, I
bar.
remember
And
that.
they'll drink at the party with
With
their
the
kids.
parents.
I'm like, what? You guys need to understand, like, there is a level from when you're an adult and when you're a kid. You need to understand that there's a difference there. You're not going to see eye to eye. You haven't earned that respect yet. You don't pay for your own house. You don't buy your own meals. You don't pay for your own school. You don't pay for your own car. You don't pay for your own phone. Like, once you're independent, then you earn that respect. And then you can know your parents on a deeper level. But you should pretty much only know, or call their parents by their first name. Are you actually kidding me?
I feel like it's more like a disrespect almost in the sense
It
that,
is disrespectful.
in the sense
So,
that
I'm
that's
telling
just
you,
more of a
it's
societal.
disrespectful.
Like,
And that is, they're missing out on such a great thing because, like, I don't know, a lot of people, if you have like a dad and you know your parents, let's say you have both of your parents in the house,
Mhm.
right? And like you're
that's even a luxury now.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like, let's just assume this
Okay.
is the situation because that's ideally how it should be. It took two to make it happen, so they should both be present. You know, unless you were like immaculately conceived, I don't know. Like alien came down and probed you or something. I don't know what the heck. But no, let's say there's like a mom and a dad and you got raised and you probably were scared of your dad at some points because he was the one.
Well,
Whenever
it's
you
a
did
dominant
something,
entity.
when you probably thought twice before you did something stupid. Like that's the number one rule of discipline. Disciplining isn't just like spanking your kid or grounding them or something like that. If they don't know why they're getting in trouble, then it doesn't matter what you do. Because now they're just gonna be afraid of you. They
Right.
shouldn't be afraid of you. They should be afraid of what's gonna happen if they do something stupid.
Yeah, the consequence.
Yeah, they
Of
should. They
actions.
should know they're doing something.
Yeah, it's like hitting a dog. You don't hit a dog
Right.
for no reason. You explain.
Right.
You try to show the dog what had happened.
Like, if anything, every time I got in trouble as a kid, I was never mad at my dad or my mom for me getting in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple times where they got confused because there was like a lot of kids running around. I might have gotten in trouble for something I didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
But vast majority of the time, when I got in trouble for something I did, I was never mad at my parents. I was mad that I got caught,
Yeah.
and I was mad that I did it in the first place. Right? So just that type of stuff. But parents didn't want to do that. They soft parenting, iPad kids, give them an iPad, let them have what they want, give them sweets every day of the week.
Cocoa melon?
The type of parents that have like soda at every single meal. The type of parents that like, if you do something bad at school, and let's say you were gonna go to Disneyland, oh, I can't believe you did that. Like giving them like, you gotta be consistent. Like that's the number one thing. You gotta be consistent. If you're gonna ground a kid, you can't be like one day, and then you said you were gonna ground them for a week, and then the next day they're gonna challenge it and they're gonna try and go get the video games or whatever it is, and then you're like, it's too much work. Oh, like newsflash, parenting's hard. Everyone said parenting was hard. Name one person who said parenting wasn't hard.
Yeah, everyone says it's bad.
They're probably a 12-year-old saying that because then they're not a parent. But I'm just saying, it's a lack of effort because it's sacrifice. You're dealing with a bunch of weak, soft people. And you should be preparing for things getting hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you're supposed to be doing in high school. Like the workload gets more rigorous, then you move on to college and you don't really have a lifeline. Like you're out there, you gotta do your own laundry, you gotta make your own meals, you gotta figure out like scheduling and all this stuff. And then you move out to the real world and you're like, that was a cakewalk, now this is harder. It just incrementally levels up. And your parents should be helping you through those transitions.
Mhm.
But if they give you a cakewalk up until the point that you're out in the real world, then you look at what's happening right now. Everyone's having anxiety and panic attacks because they don't know how to.
There isn't like a walkthrough. There's no tutorial. It's just
Yeah.
you word it.
Like
or there's no
imagine
tutorial.
never going to practice, not understanding the game of football, and then it comes to game day and your coach is like, get out there, and you get completely plastered by this guy because you don't know what position you're playing. You don't know how the game works. You don't know like anything, and you're getting flags called on you, and you breaking bones left and right. You look like an idiot, and no one's gonna have sympathy. They're just gonna laugh at you because it's the real world. So it's just a disservice to kids because we can make fun of people that are like crying and complaining all the time, but it's like you don't know if they know better. Chances are they probably don't. Like, I'm no smarter than they are. I just had parents that were actually like, were around and were wiser. Like I give the fault to the parents.
For what?
For not parenting.
I say it's more of a societal issue.
Yeah, it's not helping because the internet also, like, we like to still call it like Gen Z and stuff. Since the internet, like, we grew up in a time where YouTube wasn't a thing. Like, YouTube didn't exist when we were born, or when I was born. YouTube didn't exist in 2000.
It was 2005. YouTube was around.
I grew up with VHS
2007.
tapes. I grew up with
Crazy,
VHS
bro.
tapes, floppy
This
disks.
guy's unk. This guy's unk
Like,
if he's talking about a floppy disk. He actually
DVDs.
used.
I remember burning CDs, and that was like state of the art. I remember when Netflix, you got the DVDs.
You had to
in
get the
mail.
DVD in the mail
In the
or
mail.
insert the DVD to put it on your Wii.
I remember when music was still like,
An
we had a
iPod.
couple cassette tapes lying around. We had a couple DVDs. We had like a lot of different ways to listen to music, and none of them were digital. Like digital was like when the iPod came out. That was like state of the art. Like, that was like, touchscreens weren't a thing.
Oh, a touchscreen was like magnificent
Nah,
when you first
nah.
touched it.
What a flat screen was, this flat screen TV, that meant legitimately only the screen was flat, but there was a big old beefy part.
Yeah, there was a beefy part on the flat screen.
And that was like state of the art at the time. I remember when TVs were like thousands and thousands of dollars for something that was just like kind of garbage.
Yo, Max, what is something that is like state of the art that you remember? It's just you were just wealthy if you had this.
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray?
Blu-ray. If you had a Blu-ray
He's
player,
unk.
no, if you had a Blu-ray player when it first came out, you should look that up. The history of Blu-ray players.
Yeah.
They were expensive.
I had a PS3.
I remember
when I
like
was,
mine
6.
being blown because we went over to some place and they had like, I think it was like Polar Express or something was playing on Blu-ray. No, it was Finding Nemo.
On Blu-ray?
Crazy. I was like, this is like more realistic than real life.
It's at 1080p. Like this
Yeah.
crazy to you? Like because you grew up
Like,
on
I remember
tube
when
TV?
video games, you couldn't look up a cheat sheet. You couldn't look up a tutorial how to beat it or anything like
Oh,
that.
that was bad back then.
You had to go either buy the book, which we're kids, we don't have any cars, and we got a lot of kids in our family, so my mom just like, she doesn't like us cheating, so she was like, we can play video games, but you have to figure it out yourself. And so I remember there's this one game, a month we were stuck on this.
What game was it?
level. It's a super obscure game. It's called Hype. It was a CD-ROM game, so it was on the PC. And it was a one-player game. So there's me, and we would swap out, and then there'd be, the 4 other brothers behind, and they'd literally be hovering over the screen, and they'd be like, "Okay, so you see anything? I'm gonna be playing right here. Like, you guys see anything that I could be doing? Have I tried every option?" A month, but we didn't understand mechanics of video games.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know, like boss battles, like Mario and stuff like that. Imagine like, Jumanji.
Yeah.
Like, those kids are smart in Jumanji because they understand
The rules.
how the mechanics of
Yeah.
like boss battles. Okay, usually comes in 3 waves. Okay, like, then he's gonna ramp up and he's gonna get more difficult on the 3rd wave. Like, certain mechanics about video games.
Mhm.
Like, okay, you have like the really big, each level progressively gets harder. You have 3 lives. Like, if you're going into a video game, like, you don't understand like what you're looking at. Is it first person, third person? You don't understand the difference. Is it a platformer? Things like that. Like, as a kid, you're just trying to like figure all this stuff out. And like, we were never taught about anything. It was awesome because it was like total exploration and like,
Yeah, the world
adventure.
was actually brand new.
You were like, what the heck? Okay, space bars to jump. Okay, I guess that's in most games, the space bars to jump.
And then you learn about swaths, the little like motion. So back then they didn't have little arrow keys; they had swaths. So basically, you would move front, back, and forth.
Yeah. But it was like the primitive era of like LAN party. LAN parties don't happen anymore. For all those people, Gen Z, that's how I know I'm not Gen Z. Because Gen Z doesn't know what LAN parties are.
essentially what a LAN party is basically
You
having a bunch
bring
of consoles together.
all of the consoles, and you sit in an actual IRL room
with TVs.
everybody
Everyone has their TV
all
and
like
console.
huddled up, getting sweaty because the computers they pumped out a lot of heat, physical heat, and you'd be getting sweaty. Usually in the basement, you'd be having your Code Red and like Doritos.
What games would be on the LAN party though? I know Halo.
We played a lot of what was it? It was like strategy military games. And
Command and Conquer type deals?
yeah, I'm trying to think of what it is. Age of Empire. Age of Empire was like a big one, and there was like a bunch of like, and there was like that one kid who knew like the tuck 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 thing. So there was like you know, like in Minecraft, if you're playing on the PC, you can put in like the command keys.
Oh,
You can do that in Age of Empires. If you put tuck 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 in there, for everyone who knows, you get a huge monster truck and it just runs over. It's awesome, and it's like in medieval times. So imagine like a monster
just
truck.
a monster truck, just wild card.
Just because they could. Like the thing is, like games back then.
There was much more mystery with.
I'm sorry,
media
games back then were so much better. They were just so.
Like
much
we have
better.
all these video games in the back over here, and a lot of these games have like mystery, like weird stuff.
I remember playing like Black Ops, original Black Ops,
Mhm.
and we glitched out of the map. We didn't know it was a mechanic in the game. Also, the games, like, oh my gosh, Medal of Honor Rising Sun.
Yeah.
That game is like the perfect amount of like slightly broken. There's really not a lot to do in that game, but it's so awesome.
We play 4-screen player, and literally it's the most jank experience ever. On
Yeah,
a
people
CRT.
don't even know what split screen is. They don't know what 4-player games don't exist.
The only people that are keeping 4-player alive is like Nintendo.
Yeah.
If it isn't Nintendo, no one else is doing it.
But every game was 4.
Every single one
Like,
of these
every
PS2 games
single-
right here, they have split screen everything. But once we get
Like
to
when
the
you
newer
go onto
consoles,
the back
it's
of the
gone.
game, I remember because like there's 5 boys in the family that were playing.
Yeah, you want.
So we could only get games. I remember going to GameStop when GameStop was relevant. That was the place where everyone went to, because you had to get hard copies of games.
You couldn't just buy the online.
You couldn't buy online, and it made it cool because it was like there were so many games coming out in that generation of consoles. Like no one has played all of the games. Like not even the Giga nerds.
The Giga nerds are still catching up because
Yeah.
there's games coming out every
There's
single
so many games. There were so many games. Anyways, you go into GameStop, it would just be flooded, and we didn't know anything because we didn't have the internet. Like I don't even know really when the internet came out, because
The
when
internet.
I got access to it and when the internet came out are two very different things.
Internet was big around 2000s, and then it
That's
got
so vague.
2000. All right, let's say.
Well, that's dial-in internet.
Let's say like 2001 is when the internet started getting relevance. Like they started becoming more
I
relevant.
think 2008 was roughly 2008.
2007
2010 was when I got on it.
2007 to 2010 was
Mini
golden era.
100 flash games.
Yes.
100 flash games.
Yes.
And we'd literally just be like, we'd hop on there, we'd sneak on a laptop, get viruses on it because we're dumb kids. My dad gets it back. This is his work computer, and just like, what is this going on here? Like, dude, we destroyed so many laptops.
It would just be pop-ups.
Just
You would get pop-ups.
Menaces.
The viruses.
Because no one
just
knew
on
about
the
it. No one
computer.
knew about, like,
Well, you're a kid, dumb.
well, yeah, you had to be like a nerd for the internet back then. Because, like, there was no troubleshooting. You were the troubleshooting.
You basically became the nerd when you were on the laptop back then. If you were on the computer back then, because people were actually outside.
Oh, yeah, dude, I remember if you had, like, having a bike, like, I walk around neighborhoods now and I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, video games were fun, but the thing is, most of our video games, no one played single player games. Like, the fact that I call it single player makes me unk. Like, nobody calls, like, Battlefield, you're not gonna be like, oh, it's a single player game. You just be like, it's Battlefield. It's just kind of like, it's a given, dude, it's a given.
Oh yeah, we're still going. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I like single player games. My brother was not really like able to really play video games when I was playing video games. It's like a 3-year gap, but he just was not interested in any of my games. So I just always played by myself.